So we now know why the Ukrainian refugee problem in this country is as it is, why there's been a delay in sorting out the Ukraine refugee issue. We now know exactly why there's a problem, because Priti Patel and her team at the Home Office have spent their time concocting a much more pernicious proposal which was presented today. Keir Starmer called this proposal unworkable, unethical, and extortionate. I think he's right. He also said it's a distraction from Partygate. I think it's more than that. It's been a distraction from the Ukraine crisis. It's been a distraction from Partygate. I think it's been in the pipeline during the Afghan campaign. This is what distracted the Home Office from dealing with that as well. The Home Office has spent its resources and its time producing one of the nastiest pieces of legislation, one of the nastiest proposals that has ever been drafted, I think, in my time, while I have been alive in the British Parliament. I think this is probably the most shameful piece of legislation that I have ever heard. I think it may be illegal, I don't know. But at the moment, it is presented as a pilot scheme, so I think it's going to go ahead. £120 million has been invested in a pilot scheme that will see refugees who arrive in this country, particularly men, single men, who have come here in a way that Priti Patel judges to be illegal. That is, they've arrived probably by boat or dinghy across the channel. That is, that they are victims of people smugglers. Now, they probably are not to know that they are in the hands of people smugglers. That's the problem. And that's something that I think this legislation doesn't take account of. It assumes that everybody who ends up on the shore of our country does so willingly and knowingly, believing that they are doing something illegal. For many people, that deal with the people smugglers is the only way that they can get out of their own country, and then they are on a helter-skelter into arriving in Britain in a flooded dinghy. Priti Patel has been to Kigali to sign a deal with the Rwandans. And she says the vast majority of people who arrive illegally will be sent on a 4,000-mile trip to Rwanda, where they will then be processed and then probably be kept for a lengthy time, even should they be judged to have got reason to claim asylum or refugee status. So actually, in the process, they are going to be judged twice. First, they're going to be judged to be illegal immigrants, illegal migrants, and then they are going to be judged again about whether or not their case is sound. They're caught up by, as I say, by people smugglers. And we have to be clear, the criminals are the people smugglers, not necessarily, in fact very rarely, are they the victims. Boris is now targeting not the vile people smugglers, which is what he claims, but the people smugglers' victims. And a £120 million pilot scheme seems to have been given the green light to go ahead. And this explains why we haven't been bothered to get the Ukraine scheme right, and Bay entirely agrees with me. I simply am staggered and shocked. And I'm slightly shocked that the BBC have not drawn the conclusion about the Ukraine refugee crisis, because I think this needs to be said.